Shit was acting like it didn't want to go live for a second.
It's alive. I'm the mastermind with the plan, always ready to thrive. These haters throwing shade, but we shine like a diamond. Reaper season all day, ain't no chance of declining.
Yeah, Lil Schwetzel get it easy. I was born to race and kill beats like the Bee Gees. All y'all soft as fuck like you living life in PG. See me, can't be me, I'm reaching past the 3D. Schwetzel getting sucked, baby, slurp me like linguine. I can't see shit like I'm hanging out with Stevie. But still I wonder, getting bread like wonder. Keep me fed like summer, Schwetzel cold like tundra. All this shit like work, it ain't hard for a drummer. Baby, keep your lips closed, I can fix those. I'ma stand tall, how you peak at 6'4". Smash a bitch and smash a beat, baby, watch out for degrees. When Lil Schwetzel come through, we always turning up the heat. Cop a seat, cop some meats, boy, I'm chefing up elite. How is we the same? Little bitch, I'm Schwetzel. Yeah, little bitch, I'm Schwetzel. I ain't never met a hoe that could impress me. Thinking got me sideways, pulling up in driveways. If I'm feeling stagnant, I'ma stoke it like a fireplace. Yeah, these niggas ain't no shit, these bitches ain't legit. I'm like the president, I get what I want, baby, it ain't coincidence.
Pulling up, baby, smoking on a fifth. Hold up, 1, 2, my whole life. All right. Let's get right into this shit. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back in the communication station once again. You know what we do. You know what we up to. We got another topic for you guys tonight. Just something that I've been thinking about for quite a while now, and also just something that I wanted to speak this perspective on, catalog it as part of the digital documentary and shit like that. You know, just something to look back on if this perspective ever changes, or if this is something that the world or myself will garner as far as like an overall truth for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So let's get right into it. Today we're talking about my take on death, what actually happens when you die. And now we're not talking about death in the aspect of just a formulation of transformation in some sort, because, you know, typically when I talk about death, especially in my songs and stuff like that, I'm really just referring to a form of transformation, some kind of change, you know what I'm saying? Positive or negative, but for the most part, usually positive, you know what I'm saying? But what we're going to be talking about here today is actually death in the aspect of your actual physical body's expiration date, when you reach that time, you know what I'm saying? Whenever your physical body must be destroyed. Now, when we get into this things, when we get into this topic, a lot of people will try to convince you like, oh, you only have one life, or you only live once, the YOLO type of concept or something like that. And now that's not necessarily a bad thing to have that attitude and, you know, live it up in this life, because you essentially don't think there's anything else beyond this. But sadly to say, for majority of us, that's actually not true. You know what I'm saying? Based upon my own experiences, I've came to conclusions that there's physically no way that is true in any way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, a lot of people will try to convince you that you only have one life, and a lot of people will try to convince you that the physical vessel that you have right now in this current moment has never lived before. Maybe not this exact iteration of it. You get what I'm saying? But you have had this image before. At least I have, based on my own experiences and the conclusions that I came to through these experiences. I genuinely believe that even this image, what I appear like now, has existed before previously. And we're going to get into a little bit of why I even think this way in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So you've heard people talk about like essentially multiple timelines and stuff like that, and you've heard people talk about how essentially, if anything that you can think about, it exists now, has existed in the past, or will exist at some point in the future. If you can think about it, if you can imagine it, it's a possibility. You know what I'm saying? That's essentially the same conclusions that I came to. Like we be playing out multiple layers and multiple levels of existence and multiple levels of imagination all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, a lot of humanity has an argument over what reality really is. You know what I'm saying? What we're actually viewing and experiencing right now, what that actually is. That's why this is like one of the big worldly talking points, is because we're all dealing with multiple levels and layers of existence and multiple levels and layers of imagination. So, and that's also why, for example, a traumatic event could happen, like somebody robs a store, or somebody goes around and shoots a bunch of people. But every eyewitness account that you have of that, everyone who actually seen it with their own eyes and didn't record it with like a phone or some shit like that, every person is going to tell you a different story, slightly changed. There's going to be some major key detail, major key component that is slightly altered. It's all because of our own individual viewpoints. You know what I'm saying? And the way our mind works, we're going to ignore certain things depending upon. I know this sounds a little weird, but from my perspective, for me, really, I think it depends upon the level of strength that an individual has. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for example, our mind is built up in a manner, and our perspective, how we view things, is built up in a manner that it's going to protect us from certain shit that it knows that we can't handle, right? Like, for example, you see examples of people who, whenever they were really young, went through some very traumatic experiences, but they don't remember it until they get older and start doing a level of shadow work, or start doing a level of speaking to a therapist or something like that. And then, like, all these suppressed memories that they don't even remember them taking place. You know what I'm saying? Now you remember everything type of concept. So I think that's what be happening on the death level too. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, think about it. And this is the thing too. Like I said, people will have you believe that we only live one lifetime and stuff like that. But this is the thing to me. Based upon my perspective, this physical body can expire, but there's things that outlast that. So your mental state of being, your mentality, combined with your emotional state of being, I believe these things will continue to live on to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? Depending upon, as a spirit, what you do and what you attach to your mentality, what you attach to your mind, what you attach to your emotional space and stuff like that. I believe these things tend to live on quite a bit longer than our physical body actually does. So if we die from this level of existence, we're going to carry on that at least the basis of it, the building blocks that it took to build up that mentality and stuff like that. Like, you're not just going to be completely slate wipe clean, have to start over from brand new for the most part. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times our next level of existence will be played out through the same mental and emotional state that we learned and developed here. You get what I'm saying? Even if you have to come back to the third dimension and come back to Earth again and experience this type of level of existence, this type of life down here again. You know what I'm saying? You're still going to be on the ground basis. The building blocks are going to be made out of the same shit that you constructed that original mentality out of, and that original emotional state out of, that you was into when you was down here playing out on Earth. You get what I'm saying? So these things actually live longer than the physical body itself, right? So with that being said, and once again, take this all with a grain of salt, develop your own experiences and your own level of wisdom that you can extract out of your experiences. I'm solely speaking right now on my own individual interpretation of what death is, and the things that I've experienced that are like key markers and indicators to lead me back to the pathway of knowing myself more, essentially, and knowing what I'm doing and where I'm headed and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, a lot of times you will have people who, when they're younger, they suppress certain memories due to a level of heavy chaotic emotion. A lot of the time this happens and plays out in situations where a person who's very young has went through very traumatic experiences. So this will make them suppress a level of whatever they just witnessed and whatever they just experienced, right? And when they get older, start doing their shadow work or start going and seeing a therapist and stuff, all these things are going to come back to them. Same thing, same exact thing happens in death. You get what I'm saying? Like, for example, you'll have some people who come here to Earth And whenever they get older or whenever they're still a little child and stuff like that, they start talking about past life experiences that they might have had, or they might even start telling their parents how they died before they got here. You get what I'm saying? That's due to the fact of that now you've moved to a space to where that trauma, that chaotic shit that it may have took for you to actually die, or just the heavy emotion that you would feel towards dying, even if you excuse me, even if you had like a peaceful death or something like that. It's a lot of trauma that comes with that. You leaving family members behind, you leaving children behind. For some of us who are very materialistic, you leaving a lot of wealth behind and shit like that. So that would produce a heavy emotion as well. That would be like very traumatic for some people to experience. Some people would not even be willing to accept the fact that they just died in some capacity. You get what I'm saying? Due to all the tangible shit that they can see and feel with their hands that they would have to let go of in those moments. You get what I'm saying? So that can produce a traumatic type of feeling for an individual as well. So a lot of people will come into this lifetime with those traumas erased to a certain degree. You get what I'm saying? Now, that's my take on death in the simplest form. Now, let's expand on that a little bit. You get what I'm saying? So a person here now could be very young, being raised up as a baby and a child and a toddler and all this stuff, and start to have these memories of what might have taken place in a past life to a certain degree, right? But as we grow older, we actually get ourselves into situations where we could die again. You get what I'm saying? AKA everyone has had like a near death experience. Well, I can't really say everyone. There might be some very sheltered and protected people who never really got to leave the house, who ain't really experienced anything like that. But, you know, for individuals who have, a lot of us have had near death experiences where things occur. You might have got into a vehicle crash that you should have never survived. You might have been in a shootout that it make no sense how you just got missed by the bullet. You might have even got actually hurt to a certain capacity, wasn't supposed to survive or some shit like that, and still ended up living. You get what I'm saying? So we that whenever moments like that have occurred to me, it always bring me back to my base level simple understanding of what death is in the first place. You get what I'm saying? It always bring me back to that and expanding on that more. You get what I'm saying? Because it doesn't like, I've been through situations and like me dying wasn't even like a consideration. You get what I'm saying? Even if it was like a quote unquote near death experience, like dying wasn't even a consideration. It would only be some like trickle down effect of me like pondering on the situation in its entirety, that I started to consider all things that could be taking place in the actual circumstance and situation that builds up a near death experience and what happens afterwards. You get what I'm saying? So like I said, we're all experiencing things on multiple levels of existence and multiple levels of imagination. You get what I'm saying? So for some individuals, it could be a situation where you actually died in that situation, right? But you have to erase the trauma of how that death came to you, right? So now you might be in a situation where it appears to you what your experience was is you went through that near death experience, right? And came out the other side of it. Sometimes maybe even stronger. You get what I'm saying? But it's a day-to-day thing. It just seems like this happened. I wake up the next day and I'm still back. I'm still the same age and I'm still me. You get what I'm saying? But from my perspective, I truly believe that there's a version of you that actually died in that situation. You get what I'm saying? So that there can be multiple things that could be playing out here, but from my experience, I truly believe there's a version of you that actually dies when you go through these near-death experiences that they want to call them. But the you that's still here either is in a situation where you had to move on from the trauma of that and continue living at this level of existence. You get what I'm saying? And some people will be born into an actual new body. You get what I'm saying? And have to have to start over with no memory of what was previous. You get what I'm saying? But from my perspective, I believe the people that get to stay here and get to move on, you get what I'm saying? Because this is the thing as well. Your spirit can be fractioned off into a lot of different areas. You get what I'm saying? Like there can be multiple physical bodies at one time that you're controlling and inhabiting. You just have the perspective and the mind of this one that you're focusing on at the moment, on this lower density level of existence that takes a lot more attention and takes a lot more putting mental and emotional work in. You get what I'm saying? So the ones who get to move on and the ones who don't actually die and have to start over, you get what I'm saying? The thing is that you actually did die in that circumstance and situation, but you get to move on with all the memories that you have developed up until this point. And something that I've looked at to garner this as true is because I know that I'm living in a new level of existence. Every time something like this has happened to me, I can tell from that moment forward, everything is slightly different. You get what I'm saying? And this isn't to like speak on the Mandela effect or any of this type of shit. Like this truly doesn't come from any studying, any reading, anything other than my own experiences. You get what I'm saying? But everything is to a certain degree slightly altered when you die from the old earth and be born into the new earth. You get what I'm saying? Whatever you had to disconnect from to go through that near death experience to leave behind to continue on, you get what I'm saying? The reality you're in now and experiencing is slightly different. Now we can test this out. I've already tested it out on my own experiences and my own perspectives and shit like that, and my own my own surroundings. You get what I'm saying? But just for you guys to if this perspective applies on a mass level, you get what I'm saying? For you guys to be able to test this out, just take very close consideration of everything that you have experienced for the entirety of your life. You get what I'm saying? All the people that you've had in your life that have remained the same for so very long, and then this happens and they're slightly different now. There's something different about them. You get what I'm saying? This is why like a person could be mean and gripey their whole life, and then you have a situation like this, and now every time they approach you, they're the nicest person ever. You get what I'm saying? And then you could have a situation where a near-death experience appears again, and now the way that this person reacts and responds to you is back to the mean old gripey bullshit that it was before. You get what I'm saying? So that's how I've tested this out. I take very close consideration to the people, places, and things that I've had in my life for all these 24 years. You get what I'm saying? And look, you have to factor in change, because change is the only constant. And you also have to factor in a level of people are going to be growing in their own way, whether that be reverting back to old shitty characteristics and traits, or whether that be developing new, more desirable or more functional characteristics and traits. You get what I'm saying? You do have to take into consideration a level of that. You get what I'm saying? But when there is distinct changes that branch beyond the reaches of what this person's typical growth rate and shit like that is, this is when you have to take in other things into consideration that might be beyond this person's own individual perspective of their growth chart and shit like that. You get what I'm saying? So that's something to take into consideration. Misa B says, peace, prosperity, and protection to you. I'm gonna tune in later. Word, I appreciate that. Yeah, we just doing our thing right now. But so yeah. Let's get back into what we was talking about. I read that comment and it kind of tried to throw me off, but we'll get back on it. So if you are going through near-death experiences or have, and now somebody's like the rate at which they grow exponentially change, or you get what I'm saying, or they make a quick change overnight. You get what I'm saying? That's very abnormal for this type of person, because some individuals can do that. You know what I'm saying? They say growth don't happen overnight, but some individuals can go to bed on a certain sentiment and wake up tomorrow and be a completely different person. Like, yes, that's a very real thing. You get what I'm saying? But we have to take into consideration all things. You know what I'm saying? All things at the same time, not just things individually, because these things can impact each other to a certain degree. You get what I'm saying? But like I said, if the person you're viewing is not typically a person who can do something like that, who can go to sleep on a certain sentiment and wake up new tomorrow. You've never seen this before from this person, and you've been rotating in this space with them for 30 years now. You've never seen this out of this person. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, take into consideration all things and all experiences, because it can be a person who never has been able to make a drastic change like this overnight, but the amount of emotional turmoil that they've been building up and developing over life might just make them fucking snap one day, and then they finally wake up and make that change. So that's a thing too. But like I said, take into consideration all things. Some people might not be on that end of experiencing anything that could be stacking up as a stress point or an emotional turmoil or something like that for them to even have the essentially like the rubber band elasticity or the tension within them, the emotional drive to even be able to make a change like that. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I view. People who haven't had any of those things that I just spoke about, who things just seem to change change unexpectedly and overnight to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? So that's what kind of reminded me that death play out on multiple levels. You get what I'm saying? So some people will die multiple times within their lifetime before they actually get to that end point of actually dying. And they have to start over as a baby somewhere else. You get what I'm saying? That's another thing about death. We all have this precognition that when we die, we're born again, as if we're not in a perspective of we only live one time, we die, then we go to heaven or hell, or we die and that's just it. You get what I'm saying? If you believe that we die and then there's another level of life, whether that be heaven, hell, another level of existence, another level of your own imagination, or just the aspect of being born into a new child. You get what I'm saying? So that's what a lot of our precognitions will point towards if we are in that quote unquote reincarnation aspect of things. You get what I'm saying? We will think that when we die, we physically have to be born out through another mother and start over as a baby again with no memories, with no anything like that. From my experience, you can die multiple times and still reside within the same type of sentiment and within the same type of character, the same appearance, the same haircut. And it just seems as if linearly you were just experiencing these things one day after another. You get what I'm saying? But there's a version of you that dies and you leave behind with all these things. You get what I'm saying? But you can die multiple times within one lifetime and continue to carry on as who you are. You get what I'm saying? And that's what near death experiences are. You don't necessarily have to start over from ground zero with no memories and have new parents and a new bloodline and a new all of these things. You get what I'm saying? That's what the learning curve essentially is, the learning curve of Earth. You get what I'm saying? That's from my perspective. Like I said, once again, y'all don't have to listen to me. Y'all don't have to regard this as truth. This is just a part of the digital documentary that is the Schwetzel series, aka the communication station. You get what I'm saying? I'm just speaking on what I've experienced and the perspective that I have developed based upon these experiences. You get what I'm saying? Because I every time this shit happens, now I've had a few near-death experiences in this lifetime. I'm 24 years old now. You get what I'm saying? But every time these things appear to me and every time these things happen, there's like an overwhelming sense of truth that I can't, like it, especially anytime anything catastrophic or traumatic or tower card moment or a Pluto moment to a certain degree happens, there's like a level of overwhelming truth that I can't ever disregard or ignore. You get what I'm saying? Like it just it sticks out to me so just prudently. Like I can't I can't disregard it. You know what I'm saying? And you would have to go through your own experiences to, you know, see things like that and see your own perspective on them. But this is truly like, this is like, I don't know. This is just the truth to me. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no way that we just live, experience every day, have these near death experiences for no odd reason, and then we die when we're 65 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like that just doesn't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the consideration of we're only experiencing time linearly down here. All we can see is the timeline of events, what actually takes place on the course of events. You get what I'm saying? But there's all type of other factors that play into these things. You get what I'm saying? And even if it's not like you actually physically died to a certain degree on another timeline of another third dimensional experience, no, it could just be a version of you died in that event. A certain sentiment that you carry died within that event. You get what I'm saying? A certain mentality that you carry died within that event. And these are also great opportunities for great transformation. You get what I'm saying? You can also like transmute this energy to a certain degree and change things about you that you might actually intentionally want to change. You know what I'm saying? But that's not to say go and seek out catastrophic traumatic moments and fucking just crash out for no reason just for the sake of having a little bit of juice to be able to transmute in some aspect. Like, no, that's not to say that. I'm just speaking on the timeline of events not necessarily being exactly what it is. You know what I mean? And like I said, these things are opportunities, but you shouldn't be seeking them out. You should allow them to come to you naturally, and whatever happens type of situation. But for me, there's no way that death is just like how they want you to view it. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like truly, I feel like I've already died a few times. I'm only 24 years old. I truly, genuinely, I feel like I've already died a few times. Like even though y'all still see Schwetz, like y'all still see this same appearance at this same age and shit like that. Like I don't know. Even if it's a perspective where you actually died in that near death experience, but now you're in this timeline with the same exact memories and shit like that. It could have just been a situation where you actually had to be born here again and raised up as a child, but you either developed the same memories and the same experiences because you weren't yet done on that level of existence, or it's a situation where, once again, with the heavy traumatic emotional shit, it might have been even traumatic for you to remember everything up until the point you got to 24 years old. You get what I'm saying? So you might just have the memory of going through that car crash or some shit like that. Meanwhile, not even knowing you even had a different physical appearance whenever you were in that car crash. You just remember it as being the you that you know now. This appearance that you have now. That could have been so traumatic for you that you convinced yourself that you didn't actually die in that crash, and you actually did. Another you died in that crash. Now you had to be born here again, but you have overlapping memories from that other level of existence you were playing out. So all those memories from being born up until teenage years are what you remember. You get what I'm saying? So you remember from where you left off at, and you pick up from here. But all these memories you develop from being raised up, born up into your teenage years when you actually got in a car crash, you get what I'm saying? All this shit could have been overlapped by this original memory. You get what I'm saying? But this original memory is now skewed because now where you've picked up from, you woke up the next day and think that you're just you now, you're just this now. You get what I'm saying? This original memory is skewed now because the memory you have now, you just believe that you've had the same appearance the whole time, but you actually died right here. And when this car crash took place, you just woke up the next day and had the memory of life up until the car crash, and you forgot about the level of life you're living now, and you blurred the lines and made the timelines coincide in a way that they necessarily probably shouldn't. You get what I'm saying? Now, that might not necessarily be true for everyone. That might not be an overall truth. I'm just telling you experiences that I've went through and perspectives that I've developed off of these experiences, the things that I've taken into consideration when I view these things. You get what I'm saying? And what ultimately at the end of the day has led me to these conclusions as far as thinking, shit, we die multiple times within one lifetime. Some of us just don't like I said, we're playing out through multiple layers of existence and imagination at the same time. The mind is a powerful thing. Hallucinations are a powerful thing. We can convince ourselves of damn near anything. You get what I'm saying? So your level of existence might not actually be what you think it is at the moment. You know what I'm saying? When you start to actually take all these things into consideration and ask yourself certain questions, this will help you peel back certain layers of filtering systems and certain layers of imagination that you may be lost in, that's not allowing you to play out your level of existence that you desire to play out down here on earth to the fullest capacity that you could be at the moment. Like, people be being blocked and stifled energy wise by a lot of things that the common person wouldn't even take into consideration. You get what I'm saying? So, like, these things might not be of utmost prevalence or something like that. Like, I think the shit that I'm talking about right here is things that you start to get into when you do multiple levels of shadow work, things that span beyond one lifetime, things that span beyond a bloodline, things that, you get what I'm saying? Like, and this shit might not make a lot of sense to a lot of the world. You get what I'm saying? But I cannot deny my own experience to myself. I would be a fool to sit here and convince myself that I didn't experience these things in the way that I experienced them and the conclusions that I needed to come to off of these things. You get what I'm saying? So that going through certain shit and doing, like, essentially, I guess, I don't know what you would title it, but like death shadow work to a certain degree, like, it helped me peel back layers of illusion and delusion that I was lost in. You get what I'm saying? And it helped. This is another piece of the puzzle that, like, when I really sit back and view these things and ponder on them, you get what I'm saying? Like, I see how these things interact with each other. You get what I'm saying? So, like, me just viewing these things in this manner and even having the courage to take these things into consideration in the first place and not, like, disregard them immediately and be like, oh, what the fuck is that? That don't make any worldly logical sense. Like, I need to disregard that immediately. No. I started to actually take them into consideration. This is another piece of the puzzle that really changed my life completely. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's another one of those things. Like, it may seem simple and it may seem like, oh, it's just in the air. It's just some imagination that you're having right now, or it's something that you can use as a talking point or some shit like that. But no, like, my own experiences have shown me when I interact with certain energies and certain experiences and perspectives, I notice how that energy impacts other energy. And I notice how it adds tension to certain areas, releases tension in other areas. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the energy game. You know what I'm saying? So you know where you're developing tension at and releasing tension at. That way, these things, like, don't bind up your organs and come to a point where you need to go and get, like, gallbladder surgery or some type of extra shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And developing tension in the wrong areas and stuff. And now you developing a whole extra level of stress, and now you manifesting shit in your existence to, you get what I'm saying? So these things, like, that's why I like what Mooney Mercury Baby said. Don't just take one thing into consideration or a group of things into consideration. Take all things into consideration. That's what helps entice that. You have to broaden your horizons and be willing to interact with other energies. That is what is gonna release the tension and develop the tension in certain areas. And now the more you interact with certain energies, you're going to notice how it's beneficial for you to have a certain level of tension built up in a certain area energy wise. You get what I'm saying? Things for like motivation, discipline, certain shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And other things, how you need to tune these things down. You need to relax the waters to a certain degree. Tune down the vibration so you're not all fucking stressed out and manifesting a whole levels of layers of stress that you don't need. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what is that? That's another form of imagination. You convincing yourself that there's something outside of you that you need to be stressed about. More levels of imagination. The more you just view life and existence as nothing or is what it is, you know what I'm saying? The more beneficial it'll be for you by default. You know what I'm saying? That there ain't nothing outside of you that's worth you getting pressed, stressed, chasing, reaching for, anything like that. You get what I'm saying? You have much more value within yourself. And if you don't view yourself like that, you kind of lost to a certain degree anyway. But anyways, that's my take on death. You get what I'm saying? It's not exactly what you think it is. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is just my own experiences. This is my own perspectives that I've developed off of these experiences. You have to go through your own experiences to develop a level of perspective for your own. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, don't be just crashing out for no reason and seeking tower moments and Pluto moments and catastrophic traumatic shit just for the sake of, oh, I need to develop a experience or a perspective on this. No, you don't necessarily even really need to know what death is. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily of utmost importance. Like for me, it was a good thing to know, and it did help change my life to a certain degree, but that's just the aspect of pondering on these things and interacting with them in general. You don't necessarily have to go through something that puts your focus on that. You get what I'm saying? You should probably just interact with it in the aspect of observing that, or taking into consideration, or pondering on what you think death might actually entail and what it might actually be. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, that's the end of that. We've got a class tonight. Yeah, it's 8 p.m. right now, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. We've got the E1T1 class. I left Dave Beyond TV's link to his YouTube channel down below. His Instagram channel is the exact same at. You get me? So either go look on his YouTube channel. He'll have a registration link in one of his most recent posted, or most recommended, go to his Instagram page, DM him now before it gets too late and we get too close to class time. He'll send you your registration link. You can go register like that and tune in live to the class. We got like 20, 25 people, something like that, I believe, that have been attending nightly. Tonight we've got Dave Beyond TV's class, actually, the one who is hosting it. He's probably going to be the main teacher, you know what I'm saying, as far as he's the one who constructed the space for everyone to come together in the first place. You get what I'm saying? So y'all go tune in with that shit. Click on the link in the bio. Check out his channel. DM him on Instagram. Or if you want to look for his email on the IG page, hit the email for the E1T1 class is on there as well. You know what I'm saying? DM him. Let him know you want to join. Put E1T1 in the description of the message somewhere, and he'll send you over your registration link. But aside from that, we'll see you guys later. And some of y'all will see you in the class tonight. Peace. Take it easy.